Sports bettors, here we go. Happy Wednesday. We have a ton to get through today. Postseason baseball. We're going to talk college football, NFL, and then we have a special guest at 9:30. Lou Finnochiaro joins us to talk about a couple NFL bets that he likes going into this week and some UFC. We've got a big fight coming up on Saturday. Who is we that Lou is talking to? I'm Alex White here, co-hosting Sports by the Book with Kenny White alongside. You can find us every Monday, Wednesday here at 9 a.m. As I mentioned, a lot to get to. It's a great day for sports betting and for sports fans in general.
Yeah, hi, Alex. Good morning. I thought when you said special guest, thought you were talking about me, and then I said, oh, no, she said guest. So, we didn't talk about October 1 yesterday. We just ran right over it. You're the host, really. You bring things up like this. And Pete Rose passing away. I was fortunate enough to have dinner with Pete Rose one night, and it was at the Palm restaurant over there in Caesar's Palace, and he had his own private room. And very, very interesting, talking baseball with him and, how he played the game. And he told me to give TJ one thing of advice. Don't ever take an at-bat off. He goes, that's why I was so successful. When it was 10-1 in the ninth and I was hitting, I acted like it was 0-0. And when we were down 10-0, I acted like it was, I focused every at-bat. And
wow.
That's why he was the all-time hits leader. He was a switch hitter. So it gave him an advantage that he was always, ball was coming into him and you could see it better. So every at-bat, he saw the ball extremely well. Switch hitters do have a definite advantage. But it's a disadvantage because it is hard to become a professional from both sides of the plate. But, he went through a career that being the all-time hit leader, and he's not in the Hall of Fame, and we're doing a sports betting show, and we didn't bring him up because sports betting is what got him into trouble. And he learned the horse racing from his father, took him to the racetrack. That's how he learned about betting. And then Pete Rose started betting on college football, college basketball, the NFL, NBA, and he got to the point where he owed the bookies so much money, he had to do something, and he started betting on Major League Baseball games, and he would call every manager every day to find out who was healthy, who was in the lineup, and they were giving him all this information, and he still couldn't win with all of that information. So I always say, without power ratings, you really have no idea. I mean, he was really just guessing, even with all the information he had. So shame that, he went down that road and into that rabbit hole. And, he was a great player and he was a pretty good manager too. But, he was caught while he was managing and now, blackball from baseball. So one day he'll get in, though, I'm sure, because gambling is more in the forefront now than it ever has been, sports betting. So as long as he never admitted to betting on or against his team in games.
I was just going to ask you if you thought that he would eventually be in the Hall of Fame because of the numbers that he did put up and what he did for the game. Also, you mentioned October 1. Yes, thoughts and prayers to all those families who were affected by that tragedy. And I saw the Vegas Golden Knights put out nice statements, as always, because that's really what brought our community together when we had just gotten the Vegas Golden Knights team.
Yeah, they played that day here in town, but I think then they went on the road to Dallas and played Dallas, and it was the coolest thing that when they sang the national anthem, the Dallas players went behind the Golden Knights saying, like, we've got your back.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
And now
that team bonded from that. And, there was a major tragedy, though, very, very sad night. And it always will be here to be remembered forever in Las Vegas. And there was one gentleman that made those amazing crosses for each individual that died in that day. It's just very sad.
One more thing about Pete Rose, though. I was talking to Ralph Sirocco when he got done with his show, which is Wednesday through Sunday here at the South Point Studio, under South Point Studio YouTube channel. You can find it. He is going to tell his Pete Rose story tomorrow on his show. That is at 7 a.m., right, Sean? 7 a.m. So you don't want to miss that. I kind of got a little preview and very fascinating. I know that.
So when I'm sorry to interrupt you, because if I don't, I'll forget. There's no doubt I will. That night, Danny Sheraton, who Danny has been making been copying a line and pasting it into the USA Today for 40 years. And Danny's name has been on that line in the USA Today, was the one that set the dinner up. Danny's a great guy, and I talk with Danny like once or twice a year. But Danny set that dinner up, so he was very good friends with Pete Rose. Fast forward about 4 or 5 years later, I had a company named Hot Roster that we were doing fantasy football parlay cards, and you could bet those parlay cards online. And Pete Rose was sitting here in the South Point in the front row. And I said, I'm going to go over and say hello to him, see if he remembers me, and maybe even ask him if he would like to be involved with Hot Roster, because we were looking for a big name to push that product. He couldn't remember who I was. He had no idea. I tried to refresh his memory. Danny Sheraton, dinner, the Palms, private room, this and that. And he's like, nah, sorry, but I'm sure it happened. And then I asked him about the Hot Roster thing. He says, here's my agent's number. Get a hold of him.
And then nothing.
Nothing happened from it. I gave my COO the number and told him to give him a call, and I'm sure he did, but there was probably nothing that could be worked out there. They probably wanted numbers that were off the charts.
Yeah.
So. Too
much there.
But yeah, that was my Pete Rose experience.
I'll be better next time. We will talk about it on the day. We are a day behind for both of those things, but I am glad that you brought it up.
Yeah.
And that we did get to talk about both those things. But we do have to talk about postseason baseball now.
Let's
Dogs 3-1 yesterday. Padres were the only favorite to win. I'm surprised you did not talk about Michael King on your show earlier. 7 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, and 12 strikeouts for him in that first game against the Braves. Only favorite to win again. And now here we are, game 2. I'm really interested to get your thoughts, get your numbers, and where you think that these games are going to go. You had an interesting stat about teams that win the first game. What's the percentage that they end up winning the series?
Then the wild card round, it's 88%.
Wow.
Yeah. So you're 9 out of 10 win the series because of winning that first game. And it's big, and it's only a 3-game series, and you've won the first one. I didn't update my series prices. That's too bad. I would have liked to have done that, but I'm sure with yesterday's win it would drastically change those odds. I'm not sure if you have updated prices or not, but I talked a lot about yesterday, and you'll hear me talk a lot about betting sports. Underdogs have a 3% better value in all sports, and unders have a 3% better value in all sports. Yesterday, I made a case for all 4 home teams. All 4 were favorites, but I talked myself out of betting each one of them because they were favorites. I didn't want to lay prices. Love the Astros, but I didn't bet it. I didn't want to bet against Scooble. I didn't want to lay that price. So I passed on all those. I made one bet yesterday. It was Kansas City and Baltimore under 4 runs in the first 5 innings. And I didn't turn that game on until the 9th inning, and it was 1-0. So I said, well, I won that game. That was the only bet I made because, again, I'm looking for dogs and I'm looking for unders. If my numbers don't say it, I'm not going to bet it. I'm going to try to talk myself into a couple games today.
Well, let's start with that Houston Astros series because now we have Hunter Brown on the mound. They are a $1.70 favorite for game 2, total 7.5 over. And that series price right now, Houston plus 165. We did talk about this series in general, though, and how Scooble was their best pitcher, and then they were going to kind of do what they've been doing, rotating guys in every few innings. So is that a lean? I know you didn't do your series prices now, but we talked about rollover, too, with the Astros starting today. So now what would you suggest at this price?
Yeah, well, if you're going to, bet the Astros for the series, you're better definitely a rollover price would be much better. Now, you mentioned about the Tigers and their strategy in pitching. Yesterday, I had Reese Olson in the box to pitch for this game. But they're going with Tyler Holton today. He's a lefty. He's an opener. He has pitched 94 innings on the year. He will go 2 innings. And if he's dominating like he's been dominating all year, he could pitch into the 3rd, and then they're going to have Reese Olson, I'm sure, piggyback on him. And that's, as I mentioned yesterday, Reese Olson would be the starter. Nope, Reese Olson is going to be number 2 in line for today's game. So they've got good pitching. It's going to be tough for the Astros to get through those 2 guys, and then the Tigers will get to their bullpen. Hunter Brown, has had a very interesting season for Houston. His ERA on the year, 3.49, xFIP, 3.59, which shows he's very, very consistent on the year. And he's had just a couple of bad games this year. He's had 3 bad games. I'm looking, Oakland, he gave up 5 runs in 5 innings. Home against Pittsburgh, he gave up 4 earned in 5 2/3. At Minnesota, he gave up 7 runs in 6 innings. Other than that, it's amazing how well he's pitched. And you look at his last 5 starts, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. That's great numbers. So he looks like he's not going to give much up in this spot. My number was a lot higher. I made this game 9. It's 2 really good hitting teams. Houston, especially, a very, very good hitting team. But now the pressure is on them today. I will not bet this over. If anything, I would lean and look to the first 5 under, because it looks like Hunter Brown's going to give you 6 solid. And the Detroit Tigers with an opener like Holton, piggybacked by Olsen, that's going to be 5 strong for the Tigers in this game. I think this could be another 1-0 game after 5.
Okay, we did find 1 under. Let's move on to the next series and see if you like anything here. The Baltimore Orioles are now 0-9 in their last 9 postseason games. Some of them are from 2014 and 2016. Can't really take a lot from that, but they were swept by the Rangers last year. Tough first game for them. They lose 1-0. Good for you, though, with that under. This is a great pitching matchup, though. Seth Lugo on the mound and Zach Eflin for the Orioles. Baltimore -146, total 7.5, under -120.
Second best pitching matchup of the day. Lugo has been great, and so has Eflin, both down the stretch. Lugo, 6 2/3, 5 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. And Zach Eflin, 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 5 Ks. So, I mean, if they continue to do what they've been doing, and both of these teams are struggling offensively, and you saw it again yesterday, this could be a 1-1 game in the 7th again. So, yeah, I'm under in this game. I already bet it under. I did it this morning after my show because I talked about this game, talked it out, and I saw how well these guys are pitching. And, again, you want to bet dogs and you want to bet under, and there you go. You got another under.
Do you like that full game or the first 5 for that under?
I leaned to the full game because I did make it 7.5, but it's 7.5 under a quarter. Gentleman told me on the way in, can't trust the bullpens, right? And he was referring to, as I asked you, the Mets, their last 2 games or 3 games, they were meaningful against the Braves, and then yesterday against the Brewers, the bullpens all gave up runs in those games. So I trust these starting pitchers to lock horns in this game and go under. So first 5 only.
Speaking of the Mets, let's go to them. Doubleheader, traveled, nothing really affected them. Took game 1 against the Brewers, 8-4, the only game that did go over. Now Milwaukee, small price at home, -113, total 7.5, over -115.
Yeah, they changed starters. I thought they were going to go with Aaron Savali. That's who we had yesterday. But Frankie Montas, I had going the 3rd game, moved him up. I have them identically rated, the same power rating at home. So I didn't have to change my number whatsoever. Yesterday I talked about if the Mets lose game 1, I would jump on them in game 2 and 3 and parlay that together and get a big price of +$4 in that range. I made the Mets 15 in this game. Manaea over Montas, and Sean Manaea has been super. Frankie Montas has had some crazy numbers too in his last 3 games. He's pitched better than not, but he did have 2 bad performances in those 3 games. When we look back at his game logs, he gave up 7 runs in 2 2/3 innings, 7 earned runs, 8 runs, 3 home runs against Arizona. And it's amazing when you look back at his last 5 starts, 3 of those 5 he only had just 2 hits. That's it. 2 hits. 1 game was only 4 innings, his last game. So wasn't quite as good, Montas. And again, I don't have him rated that high, but he has pitched a couple of really good games this year. 7 innings, 1 hit, no runs at St. Louis. He's tough to get the bat on the ball. His batting average against 282. Now that's batting average balls in play. That's probably about right. But I trust Sean Manaea in this spot. Mets do have that first game under their belt, and I think they should be the favorite here today. Game, again, I talked about earlier that maybe this is a first 5 innings as well for me, that the pressure's on the Milwaukee bats, and maybe the Mets get out to a lead here in this game. So,
are you getting plus money if you bet Mets first 5?
Let me check that real quick. If you are during the game right now, you can get 105, 103 here at the South Point, and then first 5 innings, even money is the best I see. I see plus a nickel, but that's off the grid. Central America has plus 105, one of the places down there, but I'm not betting with them. So even money would be the best I could do on the Mets. I understand that adjustment. So I think there's an edge with Minaya over Montas. I also think there's an edge with the way the Mets are playing right now.
Right.
They beat up on the Braves. They put some big innings together. This team's having fun. They kind of have a little momentum, and they know they have to, if they lose today, they're playing in Milwaukee tomorrow. They want to win this game today and get it over with and move on. So I do like the Mets. I'll bet the Mets today in the first 5.
Well, a lot of postseason is about that, right? Right there. Who is playing good baseball at the right time? And
baseball is that way overall.
Right.
You know, how teams are playing, because hitting's contagious. And a lot of times pitching is contagious as well. When the team is pitching well, seems like everybody's pitching well. And then when they're hitting, everybody's hitting. And then when they stop hitting, nobody's hitting. So that's just baseball.
You said the best pitching matchup on the board we had not talked about yet. So here it is. We've got Atlanta and the Padres, Max Fried on the mound, and Joe Musgrove pitching for San Diego. Now, I didn't ask you this for the other 3 because we're trying to stay away from favorites. But in this case, with the Braves going down 0-1, do you add the 20 cents for this must win for the dog here? San Diego minus 113. Total, lowest one on the board, 6.5.
No, I didn't. I'm not adding anything for,
okay,
because it's only a 3-game series. And when you look at the numbers, that 88% of the time, the team that wins the first game wins the series. So it's not something that I need to add anything to the number. I made my number on this game, Padres 137, and a total of 8. But again, as I mentioned this morning, when I got great pitching, I like to take, if I got one great pitcher, I take a half run off. If I got 2 great pitchers, I take a run off that my total. So I'm adjusting my total down to 7 in this game. And we have 2 great pitchers. Max Fried, batters are hitting 143 against him last 3 starts. Joe Musgrove, 191. Both have a xFIP under 3. And when you look at their numbers for their last 5, Fried, 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 7 Ks. Joe Musgrove, 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. Wow. These guys have been consistent all year. This is a 1-0, 1-1 game into the 7th. So I'm under 3.5 runs. And you can get minus a dime under that 3.5 runs for the Braves Padres. This is a good pitcher's park. Weather's going to be 70-some degrees. At 5:30, you're going to have shadows. There's just so many things in place for a good under here.
Of these 4 underdog series prices, which one would you be more willing to take? Is it the Orioles plus 180 over the Royals? Is it Houston plus 165? Over the Tigers, Milwaukee plus 240, which I don't think so. You like the Mets today, or Atlanta plus 335.
Atlanta plus 335, really, with Max Fried on the mound, and I'm not sure about. I haven't heard anything about Chris Sale, but
he did not travel.
He didn't travel with the team. All right, so he probably will not pitch at all. And they're going back and forth. Ian Anderson, and then he didn't go. AJ Smith-Schwaber, he went yesterday, and he had been out for a while. Only pitched 1 game in the big leagues this year. But today with Max Fried, that looks like a parlay that would pay 3-1, and it should pay 3-1. So I think you're getting value there in betting the Braves. That'd be the only one.
They're used to being here, right, in the postseason. So
yeah, and they have the experience.
They do have the experience. Well, that's it for baseball for now. We're going to get into some college football. Before that, just want a quick shout out to everybody who is in our chat with Vince, Las Vegas, Michael, Frank, Keith, and Dean. We appreciate you. If you are not in the chat, please subscribe to South Point Studio and Sports by the Book YouTube channel right here so you can join all the fun. We had some requests for college games for this weekend, so we will get into those. Before we do that, we have 2 Thursday games, and I know you've already broken these down. Texas State at Troy, Sam Houston State at El Paso. Think you like a dog in one of these, and that's the second game here. And I know that you kind of talked yourself into this one, but you did have a big difference on the line. So you want to start with that Sam Houston and El Paso game?
Yeah, that's great. And again, it's amazing how you make numbers, you look at the games, and then if you have to come up with notes, like we do doing a show, because I can't just come on and say, I made the game 2 and that's it, and have nothing to add to it. I learned this years and years ago doing radio, but I wish I had the time to do notes on every single game, because I know my winning percentage would go way up, way up. And this is a game that I may not win this game, and I'm going to talk about it and bring this into it, but it's a game that I was a little worried about betting, because when I looked at my numbers on adjusted rushing per game and what the projection is going to be for this game tomorrow night, I have Sam Houston State, 228 rushing yards, UTEP 98.5. So anytime, we've talked about this on the show, anytime that you can project a team's going to rush for more than 200 yards, and I even think the number's even lower than that. Somebody gave me this years and years ago. I believe the number was 150 yards. If you can get a team will run for 150 yards and hold their opponent to less than 75, you're going to cover 75% of the time. And even in this day and age, that was a day and age of running football. Quarterbacks were not as good. Now quarterbacks are much, much better. And last week we win with Colorado. They were supposed to get doubled up, almost tripled up in rushing by Central Florida, but they still won the game outright and they won it easy. But this game's that way, almost triple, 228 to 98. But then I started to look the game over, Alex, and I had Sam Houston State, Casey Keeler, 4-8. Last year with Sam Houston, his first year there. I think it's his second time around with Sam Houston. 6-6 ATS. He is 3-1 this year. And he doesn't have a great team, though. 108 ranked offense, 114th defense, 107 ranking, a 97 rating. So they're a below average college football team. I have FCS teams rated higher than them. But El Paso's not that good either. 129 on offense, 99 on defense. And I always say if you can get the team with the better defense getting points, that's always been a good bet. 124 overall as a team, a 92 rating. So I have a 5-point difference, Sam Houston over El Paso. That's it. This line opened here at the South Point. Oh, let's go to football so I know that. South Point opener was 10.5, and that's what they are right now, no betting. At the Circa, they opened 12,
right,
down to 10.5. So we know somebody that was probably a professional bettor took the 12. And with El Paso. Now, I was worried about it because those rushing numbers.
Right.
So that is an edge to Sam Houston. And you could I could say I should give 2.5 points to their side for that. When I started to look through, I know Scotty Walden, the new head coach for El Paso, is a really good coach. He's a good football coach. He was at Austin Peay for 4 years. He was the head coach at Austin Peay. So he's a head coach. He knows what he's doing. So far, at Nebraska, they lost 40-7. He didn't cover, but that was at Nebraska. And he came up with a performance rating of 95. The next week against Southern Utah wasn't very good. That was their worst game. Only bad game out of 4. At Liberty, we know is a really good team. He lost 28-10. They covered. He had a 101 performance rating. The next week at Colorado State, he lost 27-17, didn't cover, just missed covering. A 102 performance rating, though. All 4 games have gone under, and they play a slow, methodical offense. They're well balanced. I think I see improvement out of this team each and every week, and I think they're going to hang around. It's a Texas type of rivalry game. And El Paso knows they're the underdog. I think they'll be well prepared. So I did bet El Paso this morning.
So I took off half of my home field advantage for UTEP. I still have Sam Houston just 6.5 point favorite. So that is a lean to the dog for me as well. And honestly, weekdays, the favorites have not been great
No?
Thursday, Friday games.
Yeah.
So I'd rather be on some underdogs here.
It did not do well, I think, the first 4 weeks on those Thursday, Friday games. But last week, finally, was my best. I think I won every Thursday, Friday game last week. So I hope that continues this week.
Let's go ahead and look at some of the games that people did request. I know you started off with Indiana and Northwestern, so we'll go ahead and start there. Indiana off to this hot start. They are 13.5-point favorites at Northwestern. Total is 42. I know you're going to start it off by talking about Cignetti and what he has done here at this program. They are 5-0, 4-1 ATS, 4-1 to the over, and a lot has to do with the Ohio transfer quarterback, Rourke, who has been fantastic for them.
Yeah, another MAC quarterback.
Another MAC quarterback, yep.
And does well. Yeah, Cignetti was at James Madison for 5 years, went 52-9, and we still see what's going on at James Madison with a new head coach, playing with Cignetti's players and Cignetti's offensive and defensive philosophies. You know, the coach came from Holy Cross, Bob Chesney, and he's a really good coach. He did well at Holy Cross for 6 years, so they got a good coach. He moved up. Cignetti moves up to Indiana, and he's done nothing but win. 5-0, 4-1 ATS. His performance numbers right now, a 115 rating. He's just been, this team has played really, really well, and Curtis Rourke has done the job at quarterback. So I didn't make it as high as the number is, though. I've kept pushing and pushing and pushing that Indiana power rating as high as I can get it. On the flip side, David Braun, second year now at Northwestern. He did go 8-5 last year. You know, he came in after the Pat Fitzgerald fiasco there at Northwestern, that there was a lot of hazing going on in the program, which was kind of shocking to me because Pat Fitzgerald was a really good football coach, and he played at Northwestern, was a great player. But my number on this 7-41, and again, I gave full home. I would adjust that up and figure this game should be about Indiana 9.5, 10 in that range.
Here's the biggest concern. So Northwestern, they had their starting quarterback. It was Mike Wright. He started the first two games against Miami, Ohio, and Duke. And then the head coach did not think he was playing up to his ability, switched him for the redshirt sophomore. And so now I think they are sticking there. They are coming off a bye week, so extra time to prepare, maybe get Jack, I don't know how to say his last name.
Lausch.
Some, yes.
Lausch. Lausch. I had Mike Wright the better quarterback, and I think Mike Wright has the far better stats. So we'll see. Much better stats than Lausch has.
So just a lean there towards Northwestern.
I'm leaning towards. I didn't bet the game, and also I guess the lean is it's going to be a low scoring game. My total's 41. You said the book is 42.
Right.
We're expecting a low score. My projected final score in this game, 24-17.
24-17. Okay. Well, we will hit Missouri, Texas A&M. We did not forget whoever requested that. And then I know Ann wants us to talk about Duke and Georgia Tech, so we will get to that as well. But don't want to keep our guest waiting. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, Lou Finnochiaro will join us here on Sports by the Book.
South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza. We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south-of-the-border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Here we go. We are back, Sports by the Book. Thank you all for being with us. Please make sure and subscribe. Please also follow us on all of our social media pages. We are going to get to UFC 307 in just a minute. We're bringing our guest in now. Again, I'm Alex White here with Kenny White. Lou Finnochiaro now joins us. Lou, we're going to start off with NFL, though. It's kind of been a mixed bag for people. How has the season gone for you so far?
First couple weeks were a little rocky, but I expected as much. Last couple of weeks have come back just a little bit, and so it's still early. Actually, at this point in time, I'm actually beginning to rely upon and research and utilize some analytics in my handicapping process. I usually like to at least get 4 weeks of data before I start really relying on that information.
Lou, we know you have a play in the Buffalo-Houston game. My number's right on the total at 40. I think it's 47.5, 48 in that range. That's what I made the game. But you have an opinion here, and there's two really good quarterbacks. Let us know why you like this game under.
I like this game under for the reason that I think that it's going to be difficult for Houston's offense to get on track against the defense of Buffalo. I'm looking at a look-ahead line on that game, 46.5, ticked up to 47.5. I like the way it's going, and even though it's early, I still think that when I'm looking at a very balanced Buffalo team, yes, they're on the road, have to go to Houston. I just think Houston's offense is not what the rest of those platoons are. Houston's defense, obviously DeMeco Ryans is stout, and Buffalo's very well balanced, coming off a drubbing that still hurts, I think, from one AFC contender. Now they face another supposed AFC contender. I regard Houston as a good team, but right now their offense is sick. They've got two of their starting running backs that are dinged up. Tank Dell is really not been himself. He's been injured. And so they're a shell of themselves. And I think we see a conservative, tight game here, not a high-flying, high points game.
Well, I was looking, Lou, while you were talking, and there's some trends that lead your way to the under. Sean McDermott on the road, 36-26 to the under going into the season. He is 2-0 under already in 2 road games this year. And then you mentioned DeMeco Ryans, a defensive guy. Last year, they were 11-8 to the under, and they are 3-1 to the under so far this year. Both home games in Houston went under the total. So the trends are your friend right now, Lou, on this one.
I'm happy to hear that. I'm not the biggest trend guy, but I'll always take anything pre-flop to try and make me feel better about my position. I do try and attack totals a little bit more in the last couple of years in the NFL, as I find sides to be as challenging as ever.
And I love that you said you like to have the 4 weeks of data to really dive into making the bets, because we've been looking at that as well. How about Monday Night Football? You have a lean or maybe a play in this one with the Saints going to Kansas City. Now, the Chiefs are undefeated, but they've had some close games here. They are laying 5.5 at home. Total is 43.5 in this one.
Yeah, this total's percolating. The look ahead was 46. When it came out 45 and a half Monday night, it saw some erosion all the way down to 42 this morning. An hour or two ago, it was 42, 42 and a half. Now there must be some kind of chief positive news. I know there's some positive Rashid Rice news for the Chiefs, but I don't know how that affects them positively this week. That said, that numbers percolated up a little bit. It was going to be difficult for me to dish that at 42 after it had opened at 46 or 45 and a half. But now that we're seeing it come back up a little, I'm more likely to sit and be patient. Here, it's a sick Kansas City offense. Again, we're without Pacheco. We're without Rashid Rice. And yeah, the young rookie can stretch the defense, but they're double teaming Kelsey, and there doesn't seem to be much else besides that. And so while Kansas City's goal is to win the division and win the Super Bowl, this could be a circle the wagons game for them, and a New Orleans team that's coming in that looked real sluggish offensively last week may not be as sluggish offensively this week. That said, you got a balanced New Orleans team that I think really wants to win a game close, as we saw last week against Atlanta, but has the ability to be balanced and explosive. The Chief D, I think, will be up to the task. And if I can get to 44 on this game, that's the key number for me. If we can get sometime between now and kickoff, I see a 44, I'll jump it. But I'm not afraid of 43 and a half, and that's an under.
Yeah, Lou, and I agree with you. I don't use trends to make bets. I mainly use trends as a talking point in this game. My total a little bit higher because I have such a high rating on Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense. But you mentioned Pacheco. That's a downgrade of 1.5 for me. Rice, a downgrade of a point. So they are hurting on the offensive end, and they have not put up a great amount of points. But the trends all say under. Andy Reid at home, the last 90 games at home, 61-30. I think he's taken a page out of Bill Belichick's book. Get the lead early, and in the second half, just run the clock and get out of Dodge healthy. And they have done that the last 2 years. 15-3 to the under in their home games. Looking at the other side, Dennis Allen, a defensive guy, and they've done a great defensive job with Joe Woods as their coordinator. They are another under team on the road, 12-6 to the under Dennis Allen. So again, I don't make my bets to the trends. I use them like Jimmy Vaccaro will say, trends don't pay the rent. I make my numbers and then I use those trends as talking points. And the trends say Kansas City under at home is strong.
Well, we know that you pay a little bit of a tax when you're looking at overs anyway. And so I tend to be an under guy. You're winning the game the whole way until they take it away from you. And I tend to lean there just by osmosis. But when I see analytics that point me to two teams holding it close to the vest, if Kansas City can win that game 15-13, they'll do it, take the win, and move on.
How about Alvin Kamara? We have really seen a resurgence from him, and they are, like you said, balanced offense, really running the football there. Let's go ahead and look at UFC 307. I know a lot of people are watching and here with us to get your thoughts on this. Let's just start with the main event, Alex Pereira and Khalil Roundtree, and how you think this one's going to go. I don't think you have a set play on it just yet.
It's going to be a great fight. Alex Pereira is the UFC's new toy. He takes any fight against anyone, anywhere. He's on fire. He's an elite kickboxing, Muay Thai striking athlete. And so far, except for Izzy Adesanya at 185, and this fight now is at 205, where Pereira is the champion. Adesanya was able to get Pereira out of there, but I think that was greatly contributed to the fact that Pereira cut all that weight. He's a monster at 205. People don't know how he even makes 205, let alone 185. And at 205, this dude is a machine. Now, he's taking on a guy in Roundtree that will not be intimidated. Roundtree is shorter and he's more compact, but he hits with profuse power. And his belief is that if Izzy could get Pereira out of there than he can. So this is going to be rock'em sock'em robots, where Khalil Roundtree is going to want to try and get in, establish inside position, and just land hooks. Pereira will want to keep him on the outside and kick him and jab him and straight right hand him to death as he tries to enter the pocket. The puncher's chance is with Roundtree. The big dog price is with Roundtree, but the odds are with Pereira getting by this one. However, I will say this. Eventually, somebody makes the untouchable fighter look human. And that is coming, I think, for Pereira. I just don't think it's this fight.
And obviously, Lou, as you mentioned, this is going to be a rock'em sock'em fight right from the start. The round prop, 1.5 rounds over -145. They don't think it's going to go long either.
No, they don't. I think they understand that Roundtree's got business to do, and he's pledged publicly that he will not be the first one to go for the legs, meaning he's not wrestling. He's going out there to strike. And to me, if I want to try and compete with Bill Belichick, I'll try and compete with him at anything except his forte. And why Roundtree was picked for this fight is because he's not afraid. He's a striker, and he's going to go out there and give the fans what they want, a toe-to-toe with a killer in Pereira that I think is going to end up finding Roundtree and removing him from his senses.
Lou, your best bet that you are giving us is actually from the main card, no prelims today. Roman Deleuze and Kevin Holland. What do you like in this one for your best bet for us?
Yeah, and now this is a fight that's going to be held at 185, and that's interesting because Deleuze has fought between 85 and 205. He just won a fight at 205. So I'll want to be watching him on the scale. He's had no problem fluctuating. Kevin Holland, his opponent, used to fight at 85, but has been fighting at 170. Holland agreed to take the fight at 85, so he's fighting up where he already has tasted the power and the strength of the heavier fighters and moved down for a reason. And this guy Dolidze is coming down to 85 from 205. And what we'll have when the fight starts is we're going to have a guy in Holland that is a talker. He's highly athletic, but very low IQ, and he goes out there to entertain, and he's going to try and pitter-patter Deleuze and stay on the outside and keep from allowing Deleuze to get a hold of him or get inside position. Deleuze is a quiet Georgian baker. His family's in the baking business in Georgia, Russia, but he's a maniac when he gets in the cage. He's going to be focused to corner Holland, get him in the corner and work him over. And I think he's in a good position here. I was a little surprised he's an underdog. Happy to take the positive price on him, however.
Love a barking dog. Thank you, Lou. We do have a question in our chat for you from Keith Lyle. Does the altitude of Salt Lake City figure into your handicap for the fights?
That's really a great question. And yes, it must, because it isn't Denver, but it's higher than California. And so certain fighters have been out there early to acclimate. Pereira, one of them.
Very good. Lou,
very good.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Looking forward to having you on as a guest again. And did you want to tell him to tell Micah hello?
I just want to say, if I may interrupt, Ken, your daughter is sharp. She's well prepared, and she's very bright. You've done a great job. I'm tickled to be on here with the both of you, and I wanted to say that before they give me the hook and move me out.
Well, thank you, Lou. Thank you very, very much. And I agree with you 100%. She's doing an absolutely amazing job in this industry. And
well done.
She's got a lot of great success in front of her. And believe me, love listening to you break down these games. And you came with 2 unders and an underdog. Very rarely will you ever find anywhere on any show anyone on either one of those. They're all on overs and favorites everywhere because that's what they think's the way to win. But it's not. You were on the right track. Unders and underdogs.
Oh, and he is.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you saying.
He is the best UFC handicapper that we know. Follow him on Twitter, Gamblu. We appreciate you. Can't wait to see you again. Thanks so much, Lou.
Good luck, everybody.
We're going to just keep it going because we've got 15 minutes here to cover a few more games. We're going to start off with that Duke game.
Yeah, let's look at Duke.
Okay. Bear with
Duke,
us.
Georgia
We're going to
Tech.
take off our headphones right here.
Oh, yeah. Still got to do
Duke and Georgia Tech. So Duke is the shocking team right now. They are undefeated, 5-0 going into this one. Now, the total is kind of moving up and down a little bit here. Right now, here at the South Point, it is 55. Georgia Tech laying 7.5 in this one, but it is going down. I've seen some 54.5s. I actually jumped in on that under 55 last night because it seemed like everybody was dropping. Duke, Malik Murphy, quarterback, transfer from Texas, completing 60.5% of his passes, 6.9 yards per play, 12 touchdowns on the year, and 4 interceptions. Now, this team does like to play fast, but I'm going to get to why I do like the under in this one. So they're the 11th quickest Duke is in the country, 23.9 seconds per play, running about 49% of the time. On the flip side, the home team in Georgia Tech, Haynes King is the quarterback, completing 74% of his passes, 9.2 yards per play, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception, and he also has 4 rushing touchdowns. Right there, that is the main reason Georgia Tech wants to run the ball. They have a good dual threat quarterback in Haynes King that can help them slow down the game and use their run game more in this one. They are the home team. They get up to a lead here. I think they are going to try and really slow it down. So I went under 55. I made it 50. Enough of a difference there for me to jump in. Nothing for me on the side, unfortunately. I know Ann was curious about that. What do you have, side or total here? Georgia Tech 8.5 now, point favorite at home.
I made Georgia Tech 9.5 in the game, so obviously really no value there. 1 point off the number. I really like what I've seen out of Brent Key, the head coach for Georgia Tech. He's pulled off 4 double-digit underdog wins straight up as a double-digit underdog, won those games straight up. He only has 14 wins in his career, and 4 of those are as a double-digit dog. So he has his teams well prepared. I like Haynes King at quarterback. On the flip side, Manny Diaz, the new head coach at Duke. You got a defensive coordinator. He is shown that they do play low. 3 of their 5 games have gone under the total. And 1 game went over, was an overtime game. I think that's the one Ann did really well on. Houston was Northwestern.
Yes, it was.
She needed the overtime, and she got there in overtime in that game. But if you count regulation, it went under. So Duke 4-1 to the under, basically, in regulation. Georgia Tech 4-1 to the under. My total was 52. So I'm agreeing with you there. I think you got a good play on the under. And I do see 54s. And I see a 55. I'm sorry. 55 is basically the market number right now.
Another interesting thing that you have on one of your spreadsheets that I was looking at is the plays per game. So Georgia Tech averaging 120 plays per game. That's 126 in the country. And then on the flip side, I believe Duke was
now
less
those
too.
are the game plays, both teams.
Okay.
Both teams, because the average team runs about 68 plays per game. So that at 120 is extremely low. The average is 136 for college, and you're only getting 120 plays in Georgia Tech's games. They're playing slow, they're playing methodical, and they do run the football.
Okay. I love that to go with my under 55 as well. And as I mentioned, there are some 54.5. So if you do like that, jump on it now before they do go down even more. We have one more request, and it is Missouri, Texas A&M. Now, this is another tough one to handicap because we still don't know if Connor Wigman is coming back, quarterback for Texas A&M. Looks like he is a game-time decision. I thought that last week, and then we did not see him. The backup quarterback, Marcel Reed, has played in 4 games so far. Second year here at A&M. He's done okay, but not great. Completed 54% of his passes, 7.4 yards per play, 6-0 touchdown, interception, and 2 rushing touchdowns. So those are good numbers. Where do you have this game here between Mizzou, who is undefeated, and Texas A&M? They are a 1.5 favorite at home here against the Tigers.
A&M's won their last 4. They've a little bit of an underachiever, though. 1-4 ATS so far this year, Alex. 3-2 to the under. This is Mike Elko, brand new to the program. He was at Duke for 2 years. Before that, he was the Texas A&M defensive coordinator. He was the Notre Dame defensive coordinator before that. So he's a defensive coach. He is an excellent coach, did a great job at Duke. Eli Drinkwitz, the head coach of Missouri, he was at App State and went 12-1 there. And then he got the job here at Mizzou, the Tigers. And he's 40-22 in his time there. He's got an excellent team. You mentioned the quarterback play. For both teams, Wegman is questionable still. I've got him worth about 1.5 to the betting line. I made A&M 3 in this game, and when I continue to look through, when I look at A&M being as defensive as they are with Elko, I guess I would lean to that side, but I did make that total 52.5, so I made it over what the total was. So no bet in the game for me either way. Again, A&M 3 and 52.5 is my number.
I will just say that Missouri has had a tough schedule coming into this one. So they're 4-0 straight up, 2-2 ATS, and 3-1 to the under. But Brady Cook, returner quarterback here, completing 68% of his passes, 7 yards per play, 4-1, and also adds 4 rushing touchdowns. A dual threat guy for him as well. But I don't know if we have Mizzou down. I don't think they're in either of our top 10s. They are ranked 9th right now. But does that have anything to do with it? The tough schedule that they have played. They did have Boston College and then Vandy last week, who played them very well.
Yeah, I was looking for my ratings to see if I had that. I don't have them in front of me, but I have Mizzou rated very good. I know that I knew they were going to be a good team coming in. A lot of returning starters on both sides of the football. And you mentioned Brady Cook, an outstanding quarterback. I have him 6 points better than the average quarterback. And they've done nothing but win. They also have an extra week to prepare. Now, their performance ratings haven't been that high for me because they've won the turnover battle. They're +3 in turnovers. A&M has won the turnover battle in 3 of their 5 games. They're +5 overall.
Wow.
So they are winning the turnover battle, but they did lose in 2 games against Notre Dame and against Bowling Green. Their performance is really way, way under their rating. A&M's has been. So, again, my numbers are right there in the game. Even when we're talking, trying to make a case,
right?
I can't make a case for either team. Just again, watch this one and adjust afterwards and move on to the next week.
I'm with you. Not enough to really jump in either way here. One more NFL, which I'm glad that Lou actually already touched on this one in case we do run out of time. But the Bills going to Houston. This total is 47, and it is a pick here at the South Point. I'm not sure what you made this. I did make Houston a 2-point favorite at home. I made the total 48, so up a little bit there. But like you mentioned, we don't want to bet overs, so not enough of a play there. But it is a lean to Houston at home here at the pick price for me.
Yeah, when you're looking at Houston and you got C.J. Stroud and you're looking at Buffalo and you got Josh Allen, and when you have great quarterback play, you can get points. But when you start to look at some of the trends, I can talk my way out of it. I don't have an overplay anyway. I think I mentioned when Lou was on, I think I made this game 48 in that range. So.
Well, and Lou brought up a great point about Houston right now is kind of a shell of themselves offensively. They are missing a lot of guys. And we've seen that, and they've struggled. And I don't think it's so much on C.J. Stroud in the sophomore year and people expecting a regression from him after that great start last year. I think it's more just they have not been healthy all at the same time. The Bills are playing above expected, right? They are overperforming, but they have changed things from last year and leaning on their run game more. So I like this Buffalo Bills team and what I've seen.
Now, I will say this. When I look at Houston and I look at their game logs, they are 3-1. So they've won. They're 1-3 ATS, though. But when I look at their performance rating, it's gone up every week for me. 96 to 102 to 104. Last week, a 106. On the flip side, Buffalo's performance rating has gone down every game so far. 105, 103, 93, and then an 85 against Baltimore. They are 2-2 ATS so far. I think they've overachieved. Again, I don't like their secondary. They've had to fill in. The defense is solid, though. The front seven is very, very good. I don't know really where the weaknesses are on this team. It's just, new offensive coordinator and Joe Brady. I guess he was there last year, Brady was, but
stepped in halfway.
New defensive coordinator, Bobby Babich. I don't really have a lot of difference in these two teams. I do have Buffalo slightly higher. I made Houston 1 in this game. And looking for my total, 48.5. Again, it was a little higher, but I do prefer unders, and I liked where Lou was headed to, and then trends all say to the under. So again, part of the science of betting, I'll use those trends to take 2.5 points off my total and just mark it down at 46 and go from there.
What's your game plan for Friday, where you will be hosting Sports by the Book by yourself, remotely though, of course? So which games do you plan on talking about? There is 4 college football games on Friday, and a very good one, if I should say, Syracuse at UNLV.
I'm going to talk about all of them, all 4 on the show on Friday. And you mentioned UNLV Syracuse. That'll probably be the headliner of that group. But there are 5 games, and I may just throw in a special because there's an FCS game. New Hampshire plays Harvard. And I have those numbers right there on my adjusted stats. I left it in for my clients to just take a peek at it. And should be a very interesting game. I have Harvard 10 points better playing at home. I don't see a number out in the market anywhere yet on that game. So I have Harvard a couple touchdown favorite in this football game. Both offenses have struggled, so my total in the game could be a little lower. Harvard's defense, well, they've only played 1 game or 2 games now. The Ivy League started later than all of the other leagues. So I'll break that game down as well. I think it'll be something interesting to talk about. Is betting on it. I know people want to bet. They really want to hear about the big games, I guess. But on a Friday, there isn't really a big game other than, what is our competitive game? Syracuse and UNLV is the biggest game. It's the most competitive game on the board. I'm hoping UNLV doesn't have a letdown from the effort they gave against Fresno State. That team was fired up. We will show you. It's us against the world, even though it was just them against Sluka and Fresno State. And they destroyed Fresno State. They just didn't beat them up. They destroyed them. We'll see if they can do that 2 weeks in a row. Syracuse is off a loss. They've got a great quarterback, the kid from McCord was at Ohio State. They're going to be hungry and ready to play in this game. I'd love to make a case for the over there with 2 really good offenses.
Cannot afford a letdown there because I'm afraid of that 25 number sitting in front of their name. But I said that last week against Boise, and they looked very good in their game, but they have been there before.
That is an angle I use as well, and we're mentioning about maybe a letdown from beating Fresno when you're ranked, and now ranked for the first time ever in the school's history in the AP Top 25. That is a letdown, and it is also a target on your back because Syracuse knows that. Hey, this is a top 25 team we're playing on the road. You better be well prepared. So I think it could end up being a really good battle.
We actually saw it happen with Northern Illinois.
Yeah, they were, because after they beat Notre Dame.
And it was Syracuse.
And Syracuse beat them. Syracuse, they've run into a good spot. I followed this over the year. I wish I should have written them all down over the years. And you could probably go back to ESPN and go through I think they have them in weekly order. You can click the year and the week of what the rankings are, and you can find those teams that are new to the top 25. I've loved to bet against them for years.
All right, well, come on, Rebels. We need a big win here on Friday. Thank you, everybody, so much for being with us here the last 3 days on Sports by the Book. Remember, 7 days a week. Tomorrow, they will be back in the morning and the evening. 2 shows happening, and then back Friday again with Kenny White. Right now, though, we are going to go to Ryan to talk about Punchlines. You got to flip over YouTube channels, but Punchlines coming up at noon. What's happening, Ryan?
Yeah, so Alex just let us know. Separate YouTube page at PunchlinesFN. Got to look it up separately. So at PunchlinesFN, you will have more of Alex White. You will have myself and Frank Nicotero talking some stuff in the Major League Baseball world, being that we are in the second day of the postseason, stuff in the NFL world, stuff in college football, stuff in the WNBA, and stuff in the NHL world because we're getting close to that too. So you got to come by at PunchlinesFN. Again, separate YouTube page at noon. It's going to be a fun one.
Looking forward to it. My last show of the week because it's my Friday here. But Ryan will be back tomorrow today, Punchlines, and then tomorrow evening for Sports by the Book Football Frenzy, and then of course Football Frenzy Friday 2 to 4 with Jeff Parles and the Bookmakers. You don't want to miss that. I will be back Saturday 8 a.m. to get you ready for all college football games that day. Dad, thank you. Great 3 shows. A lot of great information.
Thanks, Alex. I had a great time, and let's hopefully we pick some winners in all sports.
Nothing but winners in all sports. That's what we need. Chris, Nick, welcome to the chat as well. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, everybody. Ann, Sean, Vince, everybody in the back. We appreciate you, too. Well, I will see you Saturday. Good luck, everybody, the rest of your week. This has been Sports by the Book.